Hey everybody, welcome back. We're just getting prepared for the, we're just preparing to go place that last mask underneath the graveyard there. I think you can guess what's going to happen. Let me just move some stuff around here, organize my inventory, because I'm a little OCD about this kind of stuff. Because I'm a little compulsive about this kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that should be good. Hold on. Alright, okay, there. I'm sorry, I'm done. Right, so I think we'll head this way to get to the graveyard. Just dip past this guy. Now, take notice of, as I sort of head out into the main hall here. Take notice that there's a thunderstorm kind of going on. Well, you can't see it here, but remember, if you recall, that there was a thunderstorm going on. But when we come outside, where did it go? Anyway, let's go ahead and head down here. And go ahead and pop this last mask into place. Gotta say that gate coming down is one of the few things that actually makes sense to me in this game, because they want to keep this guy in here. But yeah, this is kind of a super Crimson Head. Real easy if you've got the grenade launcher. There you go. Really nothing to worry about. And apparently he left behind some shotgun shells for us, which was very considerate of him. And let's go ahead and take this with us. And now that will this will go ahead and unlock the door leading outside. Or, I'm sorry, this will go ahead and unlock the door that is outside, next to the gardens. The door, past the safe room on the east side of the mansion. Oh, you know what? It just occurred to me that I probably could have gone through the portrait hall to get there. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that. Dang it. Right. And is there still... Yeah, okay, he's still here. Excuse me. So we're just gonna want to run and slap this thing into place down here as soon as we can, because we are being chased. Whoops, not that one. By the way, yeah, you'll want to take that wind crest with you for reasons. And the zombie dog. And here in the shed, we've got some more items. Amassed a decent amount of shotgun shells. Not the toolbox. Toolbox is not that interesting. Go ahead and take that taser, though, or the battery pack for the taser. So if we look at this, it's got 4 different directions: Valley of Destruction, Cave of Hatred, Summit of Madness, and Path of Revenge. Those all sound like kind of B-movie titles. You want to stop this weather vane when it's pointing west. That was weirdly well timed. She could have tried a little harder to contact Barry, though, and see if he needed help. But whatever. I guess we're heading that way anyway. So you want to make sure to stop this one when it's facing north, and when the 2 hounds have their backs turned to each other, that gate will open. Interesting thing there, the statues are Cerberus, the 3-headed dog of mythology, whereas the zombie dogs, their actual umbrella specimen name is Cerberus. Shit. And, of course, being attacked by crows here. You know, I can still remember the first time I played through the original Resident Evil, and that happened. And I remember laughing, because, like... crap. It just seemed kind of silly. You know, it's like, you attacked by a bunch of birds here. But then, you know, I died all of a sudden. So yeah, that's my memory of that. Don't seem that threatening, but they can kill you. So let's go ahead and drop them. Shotgun's probably overkill, admittedly. But, you know, whatever. So, let's go ahead and use the wind crest here. Take the 3 crests inside. And this might seem like a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. So, now we have to examine each of the backs of these things. And find some invisible button that I don't see on there. And of course, just go ahead and pop all these into their correct spots. And now, yes, for that little bit of work, we get the all-powerful Magnum Revolver. Longtime fans of the series will know that it's pretty much the most powerful gun of the game, barring the rocket launcher. I think, shot for shot, this gun actually does more damage than the grenade launcher. Seems like a rather inconvenient place. One nice, ghostly chain wailing there. Very classic horror movie. Speaking of classic horror movies, and ghosts and chains, so the original sort of concept for this game was that you would actually be fighting. It'd take place in a mansion, and you'd actually be fighting more paranormal type enemies. Ghosts, werewolves, things like that. But halfway through development, it was decided that the enemies would be the scariest thing in the world, which is ourselves. So, yeah, they were chosen as zombies, and that's really what the original George Romero Dawn of the Dead zombie fiction was about. It was social commentary, so that's kind of an interesting just an interesting tidbit about the game developers' thoughts and ideas while developing this game. So I've made it to this cabin here, and we'll just come back and pick up this crank, which we're gonna need. I wonder what that was. Oh. Alright, so we've got this monster in chains here, and she does a shit ton of damage. So we'll just want to slip right by here. As Barry warned us, guns aren't really effective against it. I mean, you can knock her down, but she'll just get right back up. So we just want to slip past her and run for it. And then we're going to no, and then we're gonna watch me get lost due to the camera angle. No, we're gonna head back the way we came, which shit. This really isn't that hard, I know, but that is the one thing about this game is even after all this time, the camera angle still give me a tiny bit of trouble. But no, yeah, we're headed the right way now. So this area here was kind of greatly expanded from the original version of the game for the PlayStation. There was this whole area with the cabin was not in it. That's something they added for the remake. Normally, in the original version of the game, you just when you left that sort of the shed all that took you to was the guardhouse, which is the next area we're headed. So yes, they've restored, I believe this sort of subplot with the, that creature in chains and, mansion architect George Trevor was something that was planned to be in the game initially, but was taken out, and it's something that they restored for the remake.
Jill to Brad, can you hear me? Shit, it's broken.
I mean, I don't know. Might not be broken, could just be a weak signal. You know, that's what my assumption would be, but... so we're gonna walk past these very passive zombie dogs, and through this gate. So, interesting thing about Brad's character, fans of the series, of course, will know that you can find him in Resident Evil 2. But, you know, you don't really know why he's there. And then only later on in Resident Evil 3, which technically, obviously, is a prequel to 2, do you find out why he actually gets there. I don't know if those two games were being developed at the same time. I don't think that they were. I think... No, yeah. Resident Evil 2 was completed development beforehand, and then Code Veronica, what would eventually become Code Veronica, and Resident Evil 3 were kind of developed concurrently. So I guess the developers, when making RA3, they just remembered Brad's cameo in 2 and decided to sort of include him and tell the story of how he came to be in Raccoon City at that time. A bunch of snakes dropping from somewhere. It seems like they just kind of fell out of the sky, which is a little weird. But no trouble for us to slip right past. Here's some blue herbs. You know, the blue herbs, they heal poison. Very rarely in this game do you get poisoned. I mean, those 3 that they give you, they'll probably last you the entire game. In fact, it's possible that I'll go the entire game without getting poisoned once. Excluding, of course, excluding the time I was hit by the snake, because that's a different kind of poisoning. That's venom poisoning. That can only be healed with the serum. So yeah. Let me think here. How do I want to do this? I think I'll put these down here. Just sort of maintain consistency with my items. Not going to need that crank for a while. Let's just go ahead and shove it right there. Combine the shotgun shells. Whoops. hold on. And, you know, I am honestly not gonna need those shotgun shells, actually, now that I think of it. I won't need them for a bit. So, let's head out into the hallway of the guardhouse and push this box over. Push it up to these crates here, and we want to avoid that hole in the floor. Because if you approach it or get too near it, you will... well, bad things will happen. I'll leave it at that. Giant spider. Oh. There we go. That's better. You know, I don't know. As far as spiders, giant spiders in games go, those are honestly less freaky than, some of the other ones I've seen. I think it's because they're very large and slow moving. Whereas what freaks me out about spiders is just the way they skitter around. So, yeah. I hate small skittery ones actually because they're more unpredictable. So we need to just pick up all this stuff. What's in the first aid box? Blue and green mix. Let's just combine that. And take the red book here. Now the lighter I'm going to use to go up and light. You saw me light that other lamp there, and you saw a symbol appear. Just do the same thing here, and go ahead and write down those two symbols. You can technically, I mean, we could technically light that other green light down there if we wanted, but there's no need if you just memorize the two symbols. And then go ahead and write down the colors that correspond with those numbers. And then you'll sort of match the colors with the colors of the lamps. So you would have, like, the red lamp was that symbol paired with that number. And that'll all make sense later. I guess let's go ahead and combine those. Free up a bit of space in my inventory. Not going to need that red book just yet. Let's go ahead and put the grenade launcher back. And why don't we take a healing item with us, just in case. Cool. Go ahead and vault over these boxes. Now let's go ahead and check the map down here. Be careful as you're mashing the X button to get that map that you don't hit the X button again, because that'll prompt her to look through the hole. And essentially there's bees on the other side of that wall. Like those giant hornets or whatever that'll come out and attack. So don't do that.
But it's not necessary to destroy stars. What about my family? If I play my cards right.
So, why don't we barge in on that meeting and see what's going on, huh?
Jill.
Barry, I heard someone talking.
Oh, you heard. I think age is starting to take its toll. Talking to myself is becoming a bad habit.
Talking to yourself? You alright? What's gotten into you?
I'm getting you worried, aren't I? But don't, I'm alright. I guess this creepy mansion has gotten to my nerves. Anyway, I think I'll go outside, get some fresh air for a change. Don't worry, I'm just going to get some fresh air. If I'm lucky, I'll get to waste some monsters along the way.
I was talking to myself, but in a different voice. So yeah, go ahead and move these bookshelves aside. And if you come back... 4 days have passed since the accident. The plant at Point 42 is growing at an amazing rate. Although there are many unknown aspects about this plant, we now know that in comparison with the other group of plants, the T-virus has had a substantially stronger effect on this one. The T-virus has drastically morphed its host's anatomy as well as its size. Looking at its current state, it's difficult to imagine its original appearance. Nowhere on Earth will you find anything like it. We've also found that Plant 42 has two main sources of acquiring its necessary nutrients. One source is through its roots. Somehow, it has rooted itself down to the basement. Immediately after the accident, a scientist went mad and destroyed the aqua ring. Ever since, the basement has been like a pool. There's a high possibility that it's one of the chemicals in the water that's promoting the Plant 42's rapid growth. However, we have yet to determine the specific chemical. A bulb-like body of the Plant 42 has been sighted hanging from the ceiling of the first floor. We are sure that it used the air ducts to reach the first floor. Numerous long tentacle-like vines are protruding from the bulb. We believe the vines are its second means of acquiring. When Plant 42 senses prey, it uses the tentacle-like vines to capture its prey. After doing so, suckers on the vine drain the prey of its blood. We've also noticed that it has some intelligence. When it captures its prey, or when it's inactive, the vines twine around the door to stop possible intruders. Unfortunately, several of our scientists have already fallen victim to this Plant 42. When we heard the stories from the survivors, they all observed one thing in common. When the uniform petal-like flaps open and reveal its vital internals, it has a tendency to become more aggressive. One witness reported that it was as if it was trying to protect itself. Why it behaves the way it does is still unknown. May 21st, 1998, Henry Sarton. Right, so let's go ahead and check this bathroom here. Now, let's just grab this off that shelf and get out of here immediately. If you hang around in that room too long, a zombie will come stumbling through that door. so this key should unlock the door in the hallway. Yep. Right. So yep. So that guy hung himself, evidently. Now, there's a self-defense gun here and a suicide note. I had to do it. We ran from those things, helping each other to survive, but Robert started to show the symptoms. I had to do it. Those damn things are pure evil. There was no other way. He would have done the same if it were the other way around. After I put him out of his misery, I had to just leave him in the bathroom. Now I'm probably the last one. How could this happen? I'll never forgive myself for being part of this project. Eventually I'll get what's coming to me, though. There's no way to escape from this nut house. It's just a matter of time now. Everything's set. All I need is a little courage to get it done. Knowing that I'll leave behind many things undone is a regret beyond words. But this is better than just waiting to turn into one of them. Please understand, and at least let me end my life as a person. There's a message on the back. Linda, please forgive me. So that's pretty tragic. Though I have to say, that self-defense gun we picked up has a single bullet in it. Why would you choose to hang yourself and die horribly rather than just, quick, clean death with a bullet through the skull? Yep, no idea. I mean, not questioning that guy's, maybe he wasn't making the most rational decisions in his last, day, but I'm just saying. Right, so we're gonna go ahead and move the plug here. That self-defense gun has a single bullet in it, magnum round, so it'll put down pretty much anything in one shot. And I frequently just use it to just pop this guy. Because, honestly, you're never ever going to use it otherwise. Because it's an entire inventory slot for one shot. And otherwise, you're just never going to use it. You're never going to pull it out